All right, let's jump right into this. We're about to crack open a poetic masterpiece that's almost 3,000 years old. And get this, it's not just some dusty old text. No, this is basically our all-access pass, our front-row ticket to a massive royal wedding, all captured in a song that was built to last forever.
And right from the very first line, you can just feel the excitement, can't you? The poet basically says, "My heart is bursting with this. My tongue is like a pro writer's pen." They're not just writing something down, they're getting ready to perform. It totally sets the stage. We're not just reading a poem, we're in the audience for something big.
Okay, so before we meet the royal couple, we gotta set the scene, right? What even is this poem? Who wrote it, and who was it for? Let's get the backstory on this epic performance.
So the poem has this special label, a maskil. You can think of it like a movie having a film by a master director in the credits. It's a heads up to the audience saying, hey, pay attention, this isn't just any old song. This is high art. It's meant to make you think.
And yeah, nobody was reading this quietly in a corner. This thing was performed. And it was performed by the Sons of Korah, who were basically the king's personal rock stars, the royal orchestra and choir all rolled into one. So just picture it, a massive palace hall, packed with all the VIPs, and this song is the headline act. Total spectacle. All right, now the spotlight swings over to our first main character, the man of the hour, the king. The poet's about to give us a full portrait of this guy, and honestly, it's a really interesting take on what makes a great leader.
And this is what I find so cool. The poet doesn't start with the king's sword or his riches. Nope. They start with his character. He's called the most excellent of men, and the first thing praised, his graceful way with words. That's a huge statement, right? It's saying that real power, the kind that gets a divine thumbs up, starts with how you speak and how you think, not just how hard you can fight.
So the poem builds this really complete picture of him. It shows us two sides of the same coin. On one side, you've got the fierce warrior, sword, sharp arrows, unstoppable in battle. But then on the other side, you have the just ruler, the guy who fights for truth and humility. It's not just about being strong, it's about being strong for the right reasons, a perfect balance.
And the poet is so good at this, they don't just say, the king was rich. They make you feel it. You can almost smell the expensive perfumes on his clothes, myrrh, aloes, cassia. You can picture the ivory palaces and hear the string music echoing through the halls. It's a total sensory experience, designed to drop you right into the middle of all that royal splendor.
And then comes the ultimate power-up. The poet flat out declares that the king's rule isn't just a human thing. Nope, his throne is divinely blessed, and it's going to last forever and ever. This just takes him to a whole other level. He's not just a king for a lifetime, he's now part of this huge, eternal, divine plan. Okay, so we've got our picture of the king. Now the song does a complete pivot. The spotlight moves, and the entire poem turns its attention to the other star of this wedding, the absolutely radiant royal bride.
What's really interesting here is that the poem gives her direct advice, almost like a strategy guide for a new queen. It says, forget your people, forget your father's house. Now that sounds harsh, but it's really about political survival. It's telling her to fully embrace her new role, her new kingdom. In that world, a queen's influence came from the king. So the game plan was clear: win him over, show him honor, and by doing that, she secures her own powerful place in this new dynasty. And her description? It's all about splendor. She's decked out in gold of Ophir, which was like the 24-karat top-shelf stuff of the ancient world. Her gown is literally woven with gold. The poem presents her as a treasure, you know? She's not just a bride, she's the kingdom's most magnificent new asset. And let's be real, this is way more than just a love story. This is a huge political power move. The wedding is basically a state dinner and a treaty signing all in one. The poem mentions that a powerful city like Tyre is showing up with gifts. That tells you everything. This marriage is sealing a major international alliance. Suddenly, being on her good side is a very big deal.
And it all builds to this incredible climax, the royal procession. We see the princess, surrounded by her friends, being led into the king's palace. The poem just describes it as being filled with joy and gladness. It's the perfect, happy, triumphant finale to the whole ceremony.
But wait, the poem's not done yet. It's not just about the party. It has one last job to do, maybe the most important job of all, making sure the story lives on long after the wedding is over.
So the camera kind of zooms out from the wedding day and looks to the future. It talks about the dynasty they're about to build.
The poet promises that their sons will grow up to be princes all over the land. So you see, this wedding isn't just about two people. It's about securing the future for the whole nation.
And then, here it is, the mic drop moment. The poet looks the royal couple in the eye, so to speak, and makes this unbelievable promise. I, he says, I, the poet, will make sure your memory lives forever. I will make sure every generation from now on knows your name. That is the real point of the whole song.
So when you boil it all down, the real treasure at this wedding wasn't the gold, it wasn't the ivory, it wasn't any of that. It was the poem itself. This song. The greatest gift the poet gave the king and queen wasn't flattery, it was immortality. He made sure their story would still be told thousands of years down the road, which, hey, is exactly what we're doing right now. Pretty amazing.
Which leaves us with this one last thing to chew on. We don't actually know for sure who the specific king and queen were. Their names are lost to history. But their story is alive, perfectly preserved in these words. So how wild is that? How can a simple string of words have the power to make someone live forever?